A snake attacking employees in their office, a phone exploding in a woman's face, a man teaching his bird to steal money, or a woman catching a lion with her bare hands. Sit back and enjoy these incredible clips from random cameras. Somewhere in China, a woman was about to enter an elevator to go down a few floors, but as she enters the elevator shaft, she makes an incredible and mind-blowing move. To avoid touching the buttons of the elevator with her own fingers, which are obviously dirty, and to avoid getting contaminated by the virus, the lady simply had the idea to press the buttons using something else than her hand, while other people would have certainly used their elbow or put a tissue on their fingers before pressing. This good woman used her feet. Yes, we did say the word feet. In front of the bewildered eyes of her child, she raised her leg and then with the tip of her shoes, she started to press in a rough random way on the buttons until she reached the one she wanted because the button was not easy to aim at the first time. It was of course easier than freeing one of the hands, pressing the buttons and then disinfecting them. The funny thing about the sequence is that she was well aware that her action was inappropriate and she glanced at the surveillance camera as if to taunt those watching her. She may have thought she was clever at the time, but she doesn't know that today, her video is making the rounds on the net. What a shame for her. Maybe with this, she will think of another technique next time, something more decent. In a cyber cafe, an employee was quietly leaning back in his chair and working. Suddenly, he wanted to air out the workroom at the request of his colleagues. He got up and as he reached for the door handle, he was stopped by one of his colleagues. While they were talking, our friend mechanically opened the door and then closed it again. It was at this precise moment that a very lively snake took advantage of the opening to enter the room. Like a feline, the snake pounced on the man. The latter, having realized that he was being attacked by a fearsome reptile, literally threw himself backwards to flee from it. By dodging it, it gave the snake the opportunity to attack the other employees by throwing itself at them with disconcerting agility. The man got the fright of his life because he did not expect to be attacked by a reptile in an unsuspecting place, let alone by a snake as aggressive as this one. Fortunately, he escaped the attack unharmed. The snake was finally able to be channeled and evacuated, but he is not ready to forget this terrifying episode in his life. In a coal mine near Mount Kuti, in the Turkish province of Sirnak, an angry employee who had not received his salary for some time wanted to show his displeasure to his employer by taking revenge on him. He got on a huge excavator truck and drove to the parking lot where there was a whole row of big construction trucks. In a fit of rage, the man began to destroy the cabs of the trucks one by one, rendering them totally inoperative, all under the stunned eyes of his colleagues who did nothing to stop him. In total, the man destroyed all the trucks in the row, each worth about 100,000 pounds, a bill that will be very expensive for the owner. The man got his revenge, but he also caused a huge scandal as it is an act of vandalism for which he will pay a high price. The craziest part of the case is that the man's employer is also his uncle. That will teach him to wash his dirty laundry in public. Somewhere in the Sabaya region of Kuwait, a young woman was walking down a street one night looking for something she had lost. Suddenly, she came face to face with a young lion on the run. Any human being with a modicum of reason would run away without thinking. The young woman caught the lion, don't ask me how she did it, took it in her arms and brought it home. The most frightening thing about this video, which was taken by one of the residents of the street, is that she seemed serene and calm as if she had taken a cat in her arms. However, it is clear that it was a lion, as evidenced by the growling of the feline. The bold and brave Kuwaiti woman has made a lot of talk on social networks, and the video has made the effect of a bomb in the media. According to local newspapers, the escaped lion had spread terror throughout the Sabahia region. Do you think she was terrified at the sight of the feline? Not at all. The only thing that she suffered was that it was a bit heavy to carry. Well, we'll tell you the hidden part of the iceberg. It was later revealed that the girl was the owner of the lion and that she had raised him since he was very small. Hence her amazing courage. She will learn to close the cage better next time. It will save her a whole lot of trouble. This worker was on a construction site and wanted to remove a wooden board from the wall to which it was stuck. And as it was quite hard to unstick, he had the idea to climb on it and to use his body weight to counterbalance it. Not a bad idea, except that he completely forgot that underneath his feet there were only muddy pools of water. As he climbed onto the wooden board, it did indeed come loose. It tilted, but the worker found himself pulled down into the void in no time. Guess what he landed on? Well, in the mud, in which he waited for a while before getting up again in shame. It's going to be hard to work in this outfit, especially if he has work to do. Who's going to get him out of the mud now? In this clip, a biker was riding a motocross bike in a field. At one point, he decided to perform a perilous trick, to do a somersault in the air before landing on his two wheels. He started to climb at high speed, and just as he was about to take off in the air, a huge airplane coming in his direction almost hit him. The plane was flying on its side and was obviously crashing. Fortunately, the biker was able to avoid the plane before landing in panic. He clearly had a very, very close call with death. And believe me, it would have been very ugly to see. Fortunately, more fear than harm for our biker, who is now more afraid of hitting airplanes than falling off motorcycles due to his motocross sessions. He wanted to be extreme. We can say that he was well served by avoiding the Canadair in extremis. This biker was riding his motorcycle, accompanied by a friend who was holding a camera in his hands and filming their wild moments. When he had the idea to do an acrobatic move while the motorcycle was running, he then reared up his motorcycle and put his feet on the seat to stand on the machine. Except that the motorcycle finally decided to give him the slip and slide forward. The biker found himself standing on the pavement while the motorcycle continued on its way. Realizing that the motorcycle was running away, our friend started to run after it to catch up with it. And since the motorcycle had lost momentum, the man was able to grab it and get back on the horse. Although he doesn't look it and doesn't show it on camera, the man was very panicked at the idea of losing the bike in the middle of a desert landscape. That will teach him not to clown around in front of the camera anymore. A man who owns a British blackbird as a pet bird had the idea one day to make some money. What can be more normal, you will say? There is nothing wrong with working. But our friend has no desire to work. He wants to have easy money without making any effort. That's when he had the diabolical idea of sending his bird to do the work for him. He tamed his bird and taught it to fetch money, to steal it from people's purses, to steal it from the cash registers of shops, to take it from coffee tables where nobody would pay attention. Because let's face it, we would never suspect that a poor bird would come and steal our money. The bird goes to do its job and brings the money to its owner, who puts it in a drawer. We agreed the bird has nothing to do with it. It is rather the owner who is incredibly dishonest. He is the one who taught his bird to pick up money from all over the place, because it is clear that all these bills could not have been found on the ground. Now that this tactic has been exposed by the owner himself, who posted this video on the net to brag, he will most likely be arrested soon by the authorities. But let's face it, with this, he has placed himself very high on the list of the most malicious thieves in the world. Be careful, what you are about to see will teach you some things, but it is in no way a technique to reproduce. You are sharing a small, chic studio with a friend not far from the center of the city, and you each have your own set of keys. Except that today, you had a little glitch along the way. Your keys accidentally fell out of your pocket while you were running to catch the subway. And to make matters worse, your roommate left town for a week. Impossible for you to wait a whole week. You have to open this door without having to call a locksmith, which will be very expensive for you because finances are not going well at the moment. I have the solution for you. Follow the steps carefully. The man you see in these images, filmed by the surveillance camera of a building, is doing a diabolical technique to be able to open the door of an apartment in order to break in. He approaches the lock, turns on a flashlight to have a good look at its configuration, in order to reproduce a key shaped in such a way that it opens the door without leaving any traces of a break-in. Simple, effective, and diabolical. But above all, forbidden. I think you already know that. But as it is your own apartment, you risk nothing. You can try this method without hesitation. Unless some neighbors who don't know you catch you while you are inspecting the lock and call the police in the meantime. You will have a hard time proving that it is your apartment since all the paperwork is inside. You will be able to access your home without paying thousands of dollars or having to break the lock. Let this be a lesson to you. You should always give a spare key to someone you trust. So what do you think of these incredible sequences? Which one do you think is the craziest? Tell us what you think in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything from our upcoming content.